Once again, we get 2 banger episodes from Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord with episodes 7 and 8. Now for these 2 episodes, nothing too much happens, but a lot happens. So what I mean by that is just these 2 episodes are basically just 3 really big important scenes that are important to the story of the rest of the season. So spoiler alert in case you haven't seen the episode yet. With episode 7 is just basically continuing right after episode 6, where Devin, Maul, and Riley escape the Inquisitors and part of the Empire, and eventually they're tracked back down by the Empire again, which leads into this big fight, which allows Devin to get away from Maul again while he was trying to recruit her to his side, and in the process Riley gets captured by the Empire or arrested by them. And right before Devin escaped, you can see that she helps Maul assisting and clearing out the stormtroopers, but before she does that, you can see the hesitation in her face. And I found this interesting because that hesitation is her having Maul's words finally starting to slowly but surely get into her skin or get into her head, because she's starting to realize that every time I try to hate Maul, Maul is always saving me, Maul is always there for me. Now he's still evil, but there are more evil threats out there. There are people worse than Maul. So that's what she's starting to slowly but surely realize, which ultimately made her decide to help him in the end. And I find this dynamic pretty interesting between Maul and Devin, because it's better than just having him capture her or him forcing her to stay with his crew and just talk to her the whole time. It's more effective for Devin if she's shown what Maul is talking about instead of Maul just preaching to him. She's being shown that there are much more evil forces out there than Maul, and that Maul is not exactly the most worst person she's ever met. Because this is a different era, right? If this was the Clone Wars, then Maul is one of the worst people you ever met. But now this is the Empire era, so now there's more worse people out there. And during this big fight after Devin's escape, we get to see Maul versus the Inquisitor Merrick and a new Inquisitor as well, which looks like Merrick's master. I don't think they name dropped him just yet, but he looks really cool here. And they basically both jump Maul. They're giving him the belt, or they're giving him the saber, I should say, in this fight. Because also in this battle, he injured his cybernetic leg again, so he's also kind of handicapped here. And you could just really tell that the 2 Inquisitors are really well coordinated with their teamwork against Maul. And the thing I found interesting that I took away the most from this fight with Darth Maul and the 2 Inquisitors is that it represents the idea of a master and apprentice, or the power of 2. And this kind of tells us why Maul has been trying to recruit Devin this whole season as well for battles like this. If he had Devin by his side already, Devin could have taken on Merrick and Maul would have taken on the other guy. And having the power of 2 overwhelm one enemy isn't anything new in Star Wars. We've seen it in The Phantom Menace, where Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn were fighting Maul. Now, although Maul did kill Qui-Gon Jinn, that death distracted him enough for Kenobi to hit that fatal blow on Maul. Same thing with Luke and Vader versus Palpatine in Return of the Jedi. Luke was getting struck by lightning was the distraction, while Vader threw Palpatine off the ledge. So the idea of 2 comes back in this episode of Maul as well. Not only is Maul injured with his cybernetic leg not working right, but they are really well coordinated with how they attack him. Sometimes they attack him one at a time, other times they attack him both at the same time. So I just thought of this scene as a really cool giant callback to the idea of there's always 2, a master and an apprentice. Now luckily, using his force ability, Maul is able to escape by collapsing the cave on everything and everyone, and he's able to get out alive. Now for episode 5, you can really see the aftermath of Maul's recent battle on his body and his facial expression as he wakes back up. He really got it handed to him. Like, he wasn't prepared for that at all. Usually throughout the season, up until this point, Maul was calculated, prepared, even predicting and calculating other people's actions against him or against each other, depending on things he do. But now here, he's outnumbered, outmatched, and unprepared. And you could really see that here. You could really see that he relied on Devin a lot, turning to his side to be his apprentice. Because like I said before, if she was there with them, the playing field would have been a little more even. And episode 5 is just basically Captain Lawson and the rest of the crew going to rescue Riley from the Empire. And they're able to do so with the help of 2 boots. And I like Two Boots in this episode because he's starting to get some character development too. He's starting to realize that the Empire isn't what he thought it was or what he was programmed to think it was. But I know there's something deeper about these scenes where the Imperial officer and Two Boots are interacting with each other. And that thing is the idea of how the galaxy has been using propaganda in some planets to make the Empire look like good people. Like they're trying to make the Empire look like the savior, which is why Two Boots thought it was a good idea to call them to this planet in the first place. And Two Boots is basically realizing that that propaganda of the Empire being good people is false, as they're basically segregating everybody, they're being discriminatory towards droids, and they even made him take away the thing that made him him, which are his two boots, because droids aren't supposed to wear that. So it was really good to see someone facing the consequences of their actions, especially when your captain told you not to call the Empire, and you did so anyway. And eventually during Captain Lawson's escape with Riley, they're chased down by the Empire all the way up to the meeting spot where his underground friend is trying to hook them up with the ship so they could get off the planet. But the Jedi realize that it's a trap, and with that they're able to escape before they're ambushed. And here we also get a cool scene with that same friend escaping herself as well. Now the only disappointing part about the police part of the episode is that we don't see or get any mention of Riley's mom, Captain Lawson's former wife. Because she does work for the Empire, you would think she has a bigger role to play in the story because her son just got arrested by them. And I'm kind of surprised he didn't try to pull a, hey, my mom's an Imperial officer card on him, or anything like that. Having his mom be there would have put a lot more trouble on the table for the group, because it would have gave Riley a chance to be torn in between escaping with his father or just staying behind with his mother. And that could have led to something bigger plot-wise, but I guess. But the best part of this episode by far is where we get to see Darth Maul going back to his crew, and he's in his wind tunnel and he's getting forced PTSD, kind of like a Force Echo situation, because he just received the worst beating he's ever gotten by the two Inquisitors. But during this Force Echo event, we get to see how Palpatine recruited Maul in the first place, basically taking him away from his home planet. And we get to see how Palpatine was basically an abusive trainer to Maul. He was striking with lightning just for the love of the game, and just for doing little things such as not striking him with the lightsaber strong enough. Now the thing I really like about the scene that makes it my favorite is that this is the first and probably the only time that we're going to see Maul this vulnerable. This really humanizes him, especially with the symbolism of his child self being in the reflection of the water. He's looking at his inner child that got taken away from him by Emperor Palpatine himself. And that whole story with the Force Echoes kind of makes you feel bad for Maul, even though he is one of the most evil people in Star Wars. But after seeing these Force Echoes, you kind of question whether who's really evil or not. It's all about perspective here, and from Maul's perspective, everyone else was evil to him. He got taken away from his home planet, he got abused, and then he got betrayed after his death from Kenobi. And I also really like the scene too, because it reminds you that this is Maul's show. We do have the Captain Lawson police arc going on, but we're really here for Maul, and this is them basically showing you why. Now they didn't show us how the Crimson Dawn betrayed Maul just yet, but we do get to see partially the motivations for why Maul does the things he does. And this basically pretty much confirms why Maul has been trying to get an apprentice this whole time with Devin. Like I said in a couple videos ago, he's trying to fill in a hole that's there. That hole being left by Emperor Palpatine when he separated him from his brother, and the hole that got reopened when Palpatine killed his brother. And this just basically goes back to the idea of always two there are, the master and the apprentice, because that is how Emperor Palpatine trained them after all. So overall, I give both of these episodes a 10 out of 10. I really love how they put Maul in a vulnerable position here, and how they basically humanize them a little bit more before he fully goes crazy again the next time we see him in Star Wars Rebels. This episode also does a really great job of making us feel bad for an antagonist of Star Wars, and that's just by showing that there are worse people out there, which is basically what Maul has been telling Devin this whole season. And she is also slowly but surely realizing that, because earlier she helped Maul fight off that big battle at first. And this was also foreshadowed in the previous pair of episodes, as she's saying something to her master Daki, and Daki basically says, I hear your voice, but those are Maul's words you're using. So I'm really excited to see where they go with this, especially now that Maul has been super humanized for now, and we really understand him more and his motivations behind everything. And that's going to wrap up this review for episodes 7 and 8 of Maul Shadowlord. If you've seen the episode already, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Also, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button along with the notification bell so you can get notified when I make new videos. And until then, I'll see you on the next one.